Yeah, Antarctica.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first. It's a snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins. Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
That's right. Antarctica continues to be ground zero for the future secular utopia, coming in many different forms. Geopolitically, of course, we know that Putin could put the Antarctic Treaty at risk. But even more importantly than that, we've been tracking the ideological colonization of the Great White Desert and what that means for the future, secular utopia. The rest of the world is inhabited by filthy racist humans, and there must be somewhere on Earth that can be sort of the woke heaven. Now, this is coming from Zyri.net, Zyri.net. 4 women in charge of the only radio station in Antarctica. Quote, the goal is how to tell we live here, is to tell how we live here, rather. So apparently there's only one radio station in all of Antarctica, and it is run by 4 women. So all of Antarctican media is ruled by a matriarchy.
A quad matriarch council.
Yeah,
of radio operators.
They are the media queens.
The princess of the powers of the air of.
Princess. They're the queens.
I'm sorry.
The queens of the information flow of Antarctica, which I think fits very nicely with the sort of ideological colonization. But there's even more going on. So let's go in here. In the Hope base, the only one works. Oh, yeah. By the way, this is
translation or AI?
I believe this is a translation. It may also be AI.
It may be the AI translating.
Maybe the AI translating. It is painful nonetheless.
These are always great.
Isn't it funny how such a large proportion of the Antarctica media that we cover on this show, but is representative of the Antarctican media, mainstream media out there, is somehow done by a robot. So this is either
it's too cold to write real articles.
Truly, this is either written by AI or it is translated by AI. Either way, it is a real hoot. In the Hope base, the only one works radio from Antarctica is named. That's the end of a sentence, by the way. In the Hope base, the only one works radio from Antarctica, period, is named LRA 36, Archangel St. Gabriel National Radio. E is run by 4 women.
That's a random letter Y in the sentence there.
Yeah, when I say E, I mean, that's why I think this was translated from Spanish.
Yeah.
The producers...
Archangel St. Gabriel National Radio, huh? That's pretty intense.
It is intense. Is run by 4 women. The producers and announcers, Romina Zabalza, Maria Rodriguez, Claudia Albarracin, and the technical operator, Mariela Chaquina.
Romina, Maria, Claudia, and Mariela.
Yes.
They all end in A.
That is how Spanish works a lot of the time. There, they do a program once a week with broadcasts on Saturday and Sundays and can be heard from anywhere in the world. Quote, the objective is to inform how life is here, the day-to-day, the present, a bit of history, said Romina in dialogue with TN. Year after year, the radio staff is renewed, but traditionally there are 3 announcers and 1 operator. For this 2022, coincidentally, the technical operation was in charge of Mariela.
What?
I guess Mariela is in charge. Yeah. Okay, so there are only women in the studio. Quote, we support gender equality. Here at the base, we share the task among all. There is equality. It's really easy to have gender equality when there are only women running this radio station.
Hey, you know what? You and I, this podcast is we practice gender equality on this
gender
podcast.
Equality. We are equally men.
Men, yeah.
Men. Yeah. But we leave that out of the air. In the air, we do something more formal. At the base, we do everything together, they assured. So they're saying, hey, we're not trying to, do feminism on the radio. The female announcers are not professionals, but rather took training courses. Quote, day by day, we nurture ourselves and let go a little more. We are discovering a world that we only knew as listeners. It is a great challenge that we do with a lot of responsibility. Okay, so they're taking it seriously. I mean,
I can relate to that. I think both of us can relate to that.
Yes, we do that too. Little by little, we take care of ourselves, Gons. We're learning. All three are in Antarctica as wives of officers who live there. While Mariella is a soldier, Romina, in addition to being a radio announcer, works as a dentist in the health section of the base. Claudia and Maria Eugenia, on the other hand, are civilians, and their only occupation there is radio, although they are also a teacher and a nurse, respectively. See, Gons, we could go and just be radio guys in Antarctica. The producers...
We would ruin the balance of gender equality.
Right, apparently. As far as the math goes that they're working with. The producers of the weekly program made it clear that their goals are at the station. Quote, our goal is to exercise a support for all the scientific investigations that are carried out here and for the claim of sovereignty over Antarctica that corresponds to Argentina.
Oh, picking sides, are we?
So obviously, they're all Spanish names, and they're Argentinian women apparently, and their exercise is to support all scientific investigations, but also the claim of sovereignty over Antarctica that corresponds to Argentina. So we've got a very interesting thing going on down there, where you've got 4 Argentinian women as the only radio station, the only, you could say sort of terrestrial media to be accessed there, is run by Argentina and by women in this case. What is it like to live in Antarctica? And then they go into what is it like to live in Antarctica. And here's a little spoiler, everybody. It's cold. It's cold in Antarctica. Let's see here.
Yeah, what is it like to live there? Yada, yada.
Yeah, that's most of it. I was going to go at the end. They say, finally, they revealed one of the traditions that exist in Antarctica. Quote, every Saturday night, we get together for pizza. It is a routine.
Code. It's code.
Oh, is it code? Is it code? It is a routine that we do the 7 bases of Antarctica. 7 bases, guys.
7 mountains.
Each one does it separately because of the distance. No kidding. All birthdays are also celebrated together once a month. This weekend, we are going to celebrate all those that were in May. So, in the continuing creation of the sort of secular woke utopia, you have all media dominated by women, which is certainly something that the rest of the world, is a direction that the rest of the world has been moving in, for sure.
Yeah.
As far as the sort of intentional diversity, I suppose. But the sovereignty of Argentina part is very interesting. Remember, there are gateway cities, what are called gateway cities. You've got Ushuaia in Argentina. You've got, I forget what the one in South Africa is called. And then you've got one in Australia. Am I forgetting one? I thought there was 4.
You said South Africa, New Zealand
Africa,
or something?
Maybe it was New Zealand. I was kind of yeah. Anyways, so there you go. So there's 4 gateway cities, which means there's 4 gateway countries. Argentina being one of them, being one of the countries that does have a claim over Antarctica, but to have the only media personalities in Antarctica being 4 women claiming sovereignty by Argentina. I think Argentina, and we had the government of Argentina doing, a retreat to Antarctica to, do trust falls and reorganize their government and stuff, but going to a luxury Antarctica place.
Oh, look at this. Sorry, reading something.
Yeah, what do you got?
Antarctic gateway cities. And we knew this. It's just for some reason it just triggered in my mind. From west to east, they are Punta Arenas, Chile.
Yes.
Chile. Ushuaia, Argentina.
Ushuaia.
Cape Town, South Africa. Hobart, Australia. And Christchurch, New Zealand.
Oh, I was going to say Christchurch. Yeah. That's interesting, though, that Chile and Argentina are sharing it. I guess they do kind of both jut down to the end of the continent there. Yeah. So where was I? Oh, so when we talk about the, the constant threatening of the Antarctic Treaty and the countries that do have claims there, and the countries that do have claims there can only go through these gateway cities to get there. This power play, not only culturally and ideologically, but geopolitically, I think is getting very, very interesting, considering, everything we've covered in previous Antarctica updates. But when the reporting is, Putin is going to threaten the safety of the treaty, at the same time, you kind of have a media campaign, an Antarctic media campaign to establish Argentinian sovereignty over there, which is very interesting. There was one detail here. 9 families live at the Esperanza base, and in total, they are 66 people.
Ooh. Interesting numbers for sure.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a little update on some more stuff going on in Antarctica. If you go to Antarctica and you turn on your radio, just know that you are finding equality and equity in an all-female cast of radio people down there. I wonder if they are really just like the only Argentinian radio station. Why would we not set up our own radio station?
I don't know, or South African or Australian, or there's.
I didn't see a podcast link. You'd think that they would be podcasting this.
Yeah, that's true. They should be archiving everything on Podcasting 2.0 if they really want to move into.
We got to listen to this podcast. I got to learn Spanish first. Anyways. There you go.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Antarctica. Climate crisis. Penguins.
Them Chinese don't like penguins.
They don't like it. The Chinese are blocking the Chinese's attempt to save the penguins. That's for another podcast, folks.